Okay. Perfect. Well, we are going to go ahead and get started. So welcome to our first official topic stream. Our last one was a nice intro into this wonderful page. So thank you guys. No, you did not miss it. We just started. We had some technical difficulties, but we are about to, welcome to our life, Hot Mess Express. But so we have our business basics this week. I am so excited to just dive into everything along this journey with you. Yay. But it's going to be a fun night. And speaking of fun, Melissa, what fun shirt do you have on tonight?
Yes. Okay.
Let me see.
We decided to lighten our moods tonight. Says, I've got kids to raise and cookies to make.
There you go. Yes.
Yay. How about you, my love?
Mine is, let's get in with the times of the 90s kids. It says, get in, losers. We're freeing Britney.
Yes.
So, yes.
Free Britney.
If you know the reference of the movie for the beginning, put it below because my husband did not. He was like, I don't even know what that's from. So, get in, losers. Let me know where that is from. So, yes. Then I won't feel so alone.
Classic.
It is.
Awesome. Well,
they're saying that they're having a little bit of a hard time hearing you, miss.
Hearing me?
Yes.
Let's see.
Yes, Mallory, mean girls. Thank you.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, guys. Thank you, girl. You are my people, mean girls. I can hear you. Is it better, guys? Let us know.
Is it better for you guys? Hopefully that's better. Yay?
It's all an adjustment. Think so.
Okay. Yay. All right. We got some double.
Oh, yeah, we're coming. Okay, good. Perfect. Okay. So, it's Wednesdays. We do it. Yes. Oh my gosh, we should. There you go. So we hear, but it's far. Okay. Well, we'll try and talk closer. Let's scoot on into these microphones. We're not screaming at you. So fetch. We're going to make fetch happen here. That's what I do. But awesome. Okay. Abby says it's not better.
It's not better. You can hear me, right?
Laura said if you exit and rejoin, that it was a lot better. So thank you, Laura, for that one.
Okay.
All right.
She exited and rejoined. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Try that if for some reason you're having issue hearing me.
Okay. We will figure this out. Okay, perfect. All right, so we are going to dive into this episode, and it is going to be our cookie business basics, baker business basics. So, Melissa, do you want to take it from here and just kind of intro everybody on what our first part of the topic is?
Yeah. So, you guys may have seen some of this on the Let's Chat or Let's Talk Business. Can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that you guys can hear. On the Let's Talk Business episode, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. Can somebody please tell me that they can hear me? I know. Okay, but so we're going to talk really quickly about just some terminology because it's going to be, okay, Treat Yourself said yes, so I'm going to keep going. Okay, so we're going to talk really quickly about just some terminology things that we will be using all the time. And it's not terminology like I make cakes and I make cookies or that sort of thing. We're kind of qualifying bakers in kind of 3 categories. And then we are going to go into some other fun things. So, for categorizing, what we kind of are establishing this as is 3 categories, and it's hobby baker, a part-time baker, and full-time bakers. So with that said, Chelsea, I'm going to pass it to you to start off with our hobby baker.
Yes. All right. So as Melissa had touched on, we are hobby bakers. It kind of took us a little bit, to be honest, to kind of establish these categories because we feel like this could be just a huge range of people. So again, this is our interpretation on it. So if we missed something, let us know in the comments below. However, for a hobby baker. So hobby baker is going to truly be a starting point for a lot of bakers. It's kind of how they get introduced into this world. Some people hobby bake just for the fun of baking. Like, I love cooking or I love making custom cakes. They do it a lot for friends and family, coworkers, their inner circle, or kind of at the holidays. They're just like, man, holiday baking is my jam, so that's where I want to go with it. Hobby bakers can also be found with those beautiful Instagram aesthetic, just so pleasing pages. Yes. And they just do it for the wonderful skill and craft and art that they have of painting cookies, making beautiful and other gorgeous baked goods. So again, the hobby baker's main focus is not the income, but so much as enjoying the craft and the skill that they have been blessed with. So that's kind of where we established. Am I missing anything?
No, I was just going to say there's accounts with like hundreds of thousands of followers who don't even take orders. It's purely just they love the art form and they love sharing that, and this is a platform for them to share it.
Right. So if you are a hobby baker, let us know. Put in the comments, just say hobby, and we want to say hi to you guys. So our wonderful hobby bakers, welcome to our stream. But yes, hobby kind of leads into our next one. And our perfect person to explain this is Melissa. Go ahead.
Part-time baker. It's me.
Yes. Our resident part-time baker.
It's me. So yes, I definitely qualify myself as a part-time baker. And when Chelsea and I were talking about just kind of high-level part-time baker versus full-time baker, there's definitely a couple of categories and tiers where they collide. The big ones are your time capacity and your revenue. So we both have our certain qualified amounts of time to do orders, and we have certain like revenue and what that means for us. So for me, for a part-time baker, I only take, like max 8 dozen-ish a week and a couple of weeks. I think Chelsea said last week she takes some ridiculous amount, like in like the high 20s or something. So
yes.
It's definitely related to like it's a part-time job, so I only take that capacity, right? And then from a revenue standpoint, for not with all part-time bakers, but for most part-time bakers, it's going to be kind of like the bonus money in the household. So it's paying for the camp this week. It's paying for, a date night. It's paying for some little like mani-pedis and some clothes or something like that. So that means, it's just an added bonus money to the household. A lot of times we're doing this too purely because we love just the art form of it and we want a creative outlet. And so with that, we have the ability to kind of like pull back and push whenever it makes sense. We don't do every single holiday pre-sale a lot of times, things like that. And then within that, there's kind of like 3 main sorts of people, I feel like, who tend to be part-time bakers.
Yes, the categories of these. Yeah.
What I kind of qualify is, which I feel like a ton of us are, is the stay-at-home mom who's doing the nap time hustle. Shout out to nap time hustle. And or like
the middle school teacher. Yes.
So that's another one that I'm like, you crazy. So the second category of this is people who are working full time and then come home at night and bake, and that just amazes me because it's exhausted.
A whole skill within itself.
It is. Yeah. And then there are also people who kind of pass their baking to the weekend. So there's kind of the weekend part-time baker. And there are people who go across all 3 of those. But those are kind of like our qualified times, I'd say, that we're doing it.
Yeah, definitely. We have our FD.
You are a part-timer. I saw a couple on there.
Yes.
I think everybody's waving that are part-timers, I'm assuming.
I love it.
Yes. So Chelsea, that leads us to part-timer Laurel Baking Company. Howdy, fellow part-timers.
Hello.
Okay, so Chelsea, why don't you take us into full-time, as you are, our resident full-time baker?
Yes, so team full-time over here. If you are a full-time baker, shout it out just like our part-timers are. Hello to all the wonderful and full-time mom that you, bless you. Yes. Yes. So we kind of, with this, there was a lot of similarities between the part-times and the full-times in the sense of, almost to broke it down. But what we kind of found the largest factor that's going to put between full-time and part-time, hello, Jack's Cookies, yes, is going to be that a full-time baker, this is when you have left corporate America and or have started your business from the get-go, and your income from baking is your family's income, life, everything is dependent upon that.
Yeah.
So it is a large factor within your household. So where most of us kind of talking with part-time, where you can step away, or if just tomorrow you decided, this is not what I want to do, I just want to do it for the gram, that income is not going to affect how your family lives. For full-time, you kind of have to look at it from the mindset of working smarter, not harder, in the sense that we need these orders. These orders, we have to keep them coming in. There has to be a steady cap. We have to know how much that you are going to be needing every week in order to satisfy those bills as well as build your business. So it is definitely more detail-oriented when it comes to business aspects, such as, let's say, I don't know, accounting, time, taxes. There's a lot more of the business aspect that plays behind it. I like to call those admin days.
Yes.
So the good old admin days tend to be a little bit longer when you.
It's a necessity.
It is, yes. Yes, you have to know your time crunches. Also, what I have found with full-time baking when I transitioned, because I did start as a part-time baker. I did the 9 to 5 hustle in corporate America, came home and baked, also a mom, so balancing all of those lives. Definitely finding that you have to know your schedule. You have to clock in at a certain time. You have to be able to know my day's going to start here, it's going to end here, and keep on track in order to get those lovely cookies, cakes, or baked goods out to your clients at the end of the week. So let's see. We have some people chiming in here. So let's see.
Somebody's saying that they were wanting to go full-time soon, or just full-time.
We are going to be doing a whole episode about full-time, how to transition your business. Yeah. Let's see here. Somewhere in between, we use the cookie income for running our household, but being a stay-at-home mom to 2-year-olds and 3-month-old. Oh my gosh, bless you. Has limits on how many orders I can take. Yes, certainly. And again, Melissa and I really had this conversation. I loved hearing her perspective on it for as far as like capping your orders and how just we move through the week. We both are moms as well. So balancing that out is always just amazing for me to see. So 3-month-old, bless you. Get some sleep.
That's a lot of times too. One of the biggest changes that I made in just like trying to figure out how to be like stay-at-home mom and part-time, because I didn't want to shut down my bakery, but I was like so overwhelmed. One of the best things that I did was only start taking orders a couple months in advance, because you can wait and get you can wait and get the sports schedules. You can wait and see like what the kids' holiday schedules are for school. You can like wait and see, do you need some time off? Do you need to like, focus on certain things? And that was a huge thing for me as a part-time.
Sorry, don't mean to cut you.
Yeah.
I have a question for you on that, because you've kind of said it twice here. Do you consider yourself a stay-at-home mom who does cookies? Like, how do you present that? Or do you like claim it as I am a cookier? Like, I'm interested to see, what is your take on that?
That is such a good question.
You kind of said it a few different times, so it really has me interested.
So when I first started, I had I just naturally went to stay-at-home mom. I had a hard time I think until I became really confident in my business and that like I was like staying busy and getting like customers and stuff like that. Not until then was I like, yeah, and I own a bakery.
Yeah,
You know,
yes.
it took probably about a year until I really like started to kind of own that and say it.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
Right now I'm like, I'm a stay-at-home mom and I own a home bakery. That's what I say.
You claim your business.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
Good. Good for you. Awesome. Well, let's keep it moving because we do have a busy schedule tonight.
A lot.
But all right, so we kind of have established the category. So again, we have a hobby, we have a part-time, and we have a full-time baker.
Yeah.
So these are just, again, these next areas might differ slightly depending on where you're at in your business journey. But there's so much to know about business. So Melissa, where do we go from here?
We created a little checklist for you guys.
Yay! Look how pretty it is, guys. I know you can't see it, but it's really pretty. We promise.
It's like I'm a designer.
Yay!
Okay, so we will tell you at the end of the episode how to get a hold of this pretty little checklist here. But right now, Chelsea and I are going to go through it. We're going to get a little more in depth on each of these pieces, more so than what the checklist even says. So you can always come back to this episode. We will email the episode out if you're on the email list. So I'm just going to start.
Do it. Give it to us.
The first thing we got to do, guys, is pick a name for your business. So if you're on here, you most likely probably already have some form of a name. And there's a lot of there's a lot of pros and cons around this concept of, do you include your name in your business or do you not? You notice, and if you were on the if you saw our episode last week, neither Chelsea nor I do have our personal names in our business. Chelsea, tell me why you chose to consciously not have yours in yours.
I don't mean it to sound bad, but I wanted a separation between my identity and my business. I didn't want to be my business in that sense. Even though I am, I still wanted to be rolling in the dough easy and the baker, but then have Chelsea separate. So there was no, there's a separation, I guess, to me between personal and business. And it was kind of, it just naturally happened. If you watched our last episode, we went over our stories. I did really go back and forth though about it, and then I was like, no, I don't. I want to have my own identity outside of that. So what about you?
Interesting. Mine was purely like, well, twofold, I think. I think our personalities both work this way. We don't think just in the tiny part. We think about like even like big picture.
Yes.
So if you do like big picture. If I didn't have my actual name in it, then I felt like there was a lot more opportunity, I don't know, for like even broader growth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yes.
Whether selling off pieces or branding it different ways or something like that. And then also purely like, if something real bad ever happened or somebody sued, it's not associated with my personal name. And they're not like, oh, Missy Pease was like, rrr, you know. So I don't know.
If you guys,
me in business school.
Right. It is. It's a big thing. And if you guys want to know a little bit more, there's a prime example currently going on. You caught last week we introduced ourselves. I love true crime and court cases. One huge court case going on right now is the Haley Page lawsuit, and it is about her identity of her name. And a business came in and purchased her clothing line, which was called Haley Page, and they own the rights to her name. So if you're looking for a little bit more in-depth on it, that would be something great to check out. There's so many things on Instagram about it. But yeah, it's a great topic.
It's not like an end all. Like if you love having
a
veteran teacher of 28 years, Laura, that makes total, I mean, that makes absolute sense. Like, and it's easy. And we'll get into this, I guess, in like the next piece. But once you decide what you kind of want your name to be, do a URL search. It's easy. Do a Google URL search. Do an LLC search. So again, LegalZoom, I think, has a free LLC search that you can do, and research all the Facebook social, or not Facebook, all the social channels to see if those are available. Before you just absolutely fall in love with the name. If all that stuff is taken, I'd keep looking. Chelsea, I know you have a little story about that.
I do. So, side note, how I got Rolling in the Dough AZ is that exact prime example is I had everything claimed for Rolling in the Dough until I got to social media and the Facebook was claimed, and it was another business who had been out of business for a while, and I could not get that handle. Could not, and then they had slightly registered it but let it expire, so it was in like a limbo period of if they could reclaim. So I ended up with having to put AZ, which stands for Arizona, so it is good because people know who I or where I'm located. But yes, that did happen to me, so it's a great just a starting point.
Yeah, and so I think our advice is, even if you don't think you're going to use, say, Facebook, go ahead and claim it, because it could be one day that you want to do it, especially the URL. Because here's the deal. There's a whole business model out there. These mean people who will see a business or a registered LLC and see that it is doing well, and they will search and find every URL that could potentially be associated with that business, and they will buy it. So that when you go and say, oh, I'm big enough and I want a website now, that URL that you want is not available. And they're going to force you to either choose something else or pay a hefty fee to buy it from them. I've seen it multiple times.
You don't want to do that.
I know. I was in digital marketing before this, and I saw it multiple times. And so just get it. They're cheap. I mean, they're like $10 or something like that. So just grab it. So, okay, do that. And then when you are doing any sort of channel that you can put your actual name, especially if you're not using that in your in your brand name, especially on like Instagram. There are so many times that I like want to respond to somebody personally, and so I want to go find their name, and it's not on their profile, and I'm like, I don't know your name.
Then you just become missy.
I know. And so put your name on there, and then also where it is that you service. That's a huge one. That always confuses me when people don't have that on their Instagram. Put on there where you are servicing, because none of us are really doing shipping. We're all servicing our local areas. So, and then start taking pictures. At the beginning, your social will be hit way more than your website if you start a website from the beginning. Even if you don't think that your stuff is good enough because you're still beginning, I guarantee you people are coming to you to buy from you because you're doing it better than they could. So it's the only way for people to see your work and to start cataloging. And also, I think it's huge to be able to go back and see your previous work and see how far you've come.
It is. Yes, it's definitely.
Start taking pictures, start posting as soon as possible. So, to you, Chelsea, what's next on our checklist?
All right, and I want to real quick pause and say, if you see Melissa and I drinking a ton of water and coughing, guys, we pre-gamed real hard before this, not alcohol-wise. No. We like to hype each other up and calm each other like all day. So we really were like, we've been so excited. We've been working really hard on all of this content for you guys. So that's why. I just want to preface that is we're like, man, we probably should have saved this energy for the live. But that's why.
Really? All right. I can't, but this is, oh my gosh. Everybody knows Kirky Cookies, right? Like Andy of Kirky Cookies.
Yes.
This is hilarious. Laura.
Oh my God.
Hilarious, but also like, I'm sorry.
Yes.
You guys don't see her comment. She kind of came up with the idea of the Kirky's Cookies and then found out that Andy had it.
And she already had stickers and cards made.
Oh, see?
Well, I like your name.
I do too. It's a beautiful name, and I love the blue in your logo too. That stands out.
It does. Very calming. So, speaking of that, Laura, thank you for the great transition. One of the next steps down the checklist is going to be to get a logo and color branding established. Now, this does not mean you need to go out and spend a ton of money and have this like elaborate logo made. You can always rebrand as your business grows. You're going to grow. You're going to find things that change. So just at least get a basic logo created, which there's so many apps now on iPhones and Androids that you can just do it yourself.
Guys, I made our cookie chat logo on Pages, the free.
Yep. She did. Yeah. So we are all learning here together. And Melissa and I, again, are going through the same step with you guys with this new endeavor. So we really feel like we are right in the trenches with you guys. But the logo and branding, you guys know, as you're scrolling your feeds and looking at those pictures, you don't even need to associate some names. You just look at the picture and you're like, oh, I know who that is. That's branding. So you really want to establish yourself with your logo, with your colors, so your customers really get to know you as your brand. Mm-hmm. Next, and I would say this is probably one of the most important when starting out any type of baking business, since 99.9% of us start from home. Make yourself familiar with your state's cottage food law.
And they are
so don't know what that is. Yes. We really thought of doing a deep dive into understanding cottage food law, but just between Melissa and I, our states are night and day different. Yes. We were like, oh my goodness, there's no way we could even address all of these questions, because what is okay for Texas is not something Arizona can do. Mm-hmm. So make yourself familiar with those. You can email them and ask questions. At least I know for our state we can. Or a lot of states have now established Facebook groups or Instagram groups with other bakers where you guys can bounce questions.
Yeah, Texas has a phenomenal one, and they have people who advocate for changes. I mean, it's very active, and they are super on top of their stuff. So yeah, I highly suggest looking at Facebook or any sort of online forum for that.
Yes, definitely. And again, it might seem overwhelming at first, but just take it just like a cookie, one bite at a time. You got this. With that, the cottage food law, we are almost 99.9 million% sure every state is going to require some form of a food handler license.
Yeah.
They are not expensive.
Minimum. They're like, be clean when you're baking.
Yes, know your laws, know how to make your food. They're under $20, and they last anywhere from a year to 2 years, depending upon your state. So just put it in your calendar every year. They do send great renewal notices, like it's coming up for expiration. So that is a great place to start, your cottage food law, and get your food handler's card.
Yeah.
Next up is we need to establish how are we going to get these orders coming in the sense of how am I going to take these orders? Am I going to allow people to DM me order requests? Am I going to set up a Google form or a Google Doc? And that's where I want to generate or direct my customers to in order to book those orders with us. Do you take, I don't think you do, right? You don't take DM orders.
I don't. No. I would say when I first started, I probably kind of did. And I would get details, and then I would always put it into an order form. So I had a makeshift order form, and I would do it that way. No, now I politely send them to my order form link.
Yes. I am the same. I do not take orders through DMs. They get lost. The more DMs you get, it bumps them down. And then I don't know if you have this, but mine at a certain point starts deleting.
I've seen people say that. I have not noticed that.
Yeah.
But maybe I just don't. I
know. Like, I don't know, go back on that.
I don't know. Has anybody messaged me and I haven't messaged them back?
Yeah, I will lose them.
You have a little trick for.
Oh, I do. Yes.
Response, don't you?
Right. So if you, I am so sorry, my dogs. They're excited. If you are finding that you're getting a lot of orders in your DMs, after this live, go ahead and go over to my personal page. for Rolling in the Dough AZ. I have a reel saved, and it is a time saver as far as how to save messages. So you can send the same message to your customer. So if you're constantly getting
like an automatic response.
It is, and you can save as many as you want. So if I'm already booked, I can just click booked and it will send it out to somebody. If I keep getting people asking how to order, I can just type in like order and it will send a generic, this is where to go. Such a time saver if you're doing anything in your DMs.
Yes.
So,
and I see you guys, as far as like the process, I see a couple of you guys saying you need to learn Google Forms. I do think if you are starting out and you don't want to invest in a website right away, Google Forms is absolutely the most like efficient way to do it. I used to handle all my pre-sales that way. I still handle like my class signups through Google Form, and you can even have it notify, like send you an email with like the information that the person filled out. So it's great, and a free platform. You guys know I'm all about free.
Yes.
Yeah, learn. There are tons of YouTube tutorials on setting up Google Forms. So that's a really good one to start with.
Perfect. And maybe we can link that this week. We can put something in the stories about Google Forms, and then we can direct you guys to those.
Yeah.
So again, once we have established our form format, however you're looking to take on those orders, how are you going to get that money? Are you going to do cash? Are you going to be Venmo? Are you going to be Zelle? Are you PayPal?
Or all of them.
Shopify. There's yeah. You really want to establish from the get-go how people can order and how you take your payment if you require a deposit. So those are all things that you kind of have to play around with based off of the model of your business. So it kind of goes a little bit back. I know there's a big controversy with Venmo going on right now. I don't even want to say controversy, but a big awareness campaign about the processing fees that Venmo is going to be charging if they are feeling those are related to business.
Yeah. And we talked about this, and I'm fine sharing our thoughts.
Definitely go. This is why you guys are here.
I know. And just so you guys know, we have a finance and pricing episode like scheduled. It's going to happen. So we will deep dive into all that stuff. But as far as Chelsea and I's standpoint on this, I feel like it's the cost of doing business. You know, they're charging you a processing fee because it's a business that is charging somebody, and it's different from state to state. You know more about this from a banking perspective, but it's different from state to state on as far as like how those processing fees all work. But for me, we don't translate that to the customer, but I build it into, my pricing, especially if I know it's going to be a huge order. So say it's going to be like $400 or $500. I'm going to pad a little bit more to come because that's a larger fee. But if it's just like your couple dozen, guys, it's like a couple dollars. Like that's not, and you write it off on your taxes.
That is a big thing. Your processing fees are something that you want to keep track of. I'm not sure how Venmo's going to do it. I know through PayPal and through Shopify, they both notify me. I get the printout at the end of the year on this is how much I spent. I will say, yes, my background is in financing as well as credit card processing. I did prior to going into banking. Those card fees, anytime we accept a card, cards are going to be varying how much. Like, just so you guys have the knowledge in your back pocket, a debit card, when you personally swipe it in person, it's going to be based off of a risk value. So a debit card's no risk. You either have the money or you don't. We're like
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, JJ Sweet Bakes asked, so you suggest we use business Venmo? I just think that if they start recognizing you as a business, I wouldn't freak out about it. Just make sure that you keep track of that stuff when it comes tax time, and that you're filing that into your taxes. Because it doesn't mean you're getting all that money back. It just, goes towards your bottom line. And
especially if your customers are used to paying through Venmo, I wouldn't be like, no, we got to move to the next. Because there's going to be, truthfully, that Venmo pricing, I think it was like a 1.9%, is very comparable and actually a lot lower. I know it's lower than what I pay for PayPal and Shopify. So we can go more into that. Hold on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, one of my earbuds died.
Okay.
So if this one dies, I'll just probably be screaming at you guys. I'm so sorry. So yeah, those are, again, deciding on how you're going to take your payments. We will go deeper into that on our pricing, budgeting, all of that type of episode, but we just wanted to high level touch base. You know, it's kind of a hot topic right now and a lot of discussion going on. Square is another great processor that you can use. And Square has the mobile.
My pop-ups.
Yeah, a lot of people I see do have that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it just is where you feel comfortable and what you kind of have established with your business and your customers. So what works best for you. But yeah, so moving on, we've established how we're going to get paid, but like, how much are we going to get paid?
Let's figure that out.
Yes, tell me.
I feel like for me, this was kind of one of the most intimidating things, right? And especially when I started 3 years ago, people weren't talking as much about like pricing and like how to do it.
It's a taboo topic sometimes.
I know it is, but I had watched a lot of Shark Tank and I know you're supposed to know your numbers, and my husband has a master's in finance and entrepreneurship. So he's like, you got to sit down and figure out your numbers. And luckily, over the past few years, there are definitely cookiers who offer. I know Frosted by Megan offers like a bakery tracking spreadsheet. I think there's a couple others. If you guys know the other people who offer that, go ahead and comment so we can share that with people. So that definitely, I think it sets up an Excel and kind of shows you. But if you're just high level looking at how do I figure out how much my product costs?
Yes.
It's a lot. It's get your Excel sheet and get a calculator. And basically what you're going to do is like work backwards. So you've got your thing of dough, you roll it out. Well, take your thing of dough and weigh it, and then roll it out and cut yourself a general sized cookie. And then you weigh that cookie. You're looking for the percentage that it takes to make that single little cookie. So now you're going to back it out to what goes into this roll of dough that I made. So if your 2-pound of sugar bag costs $3 and you take a half a cup, you're going to weigh what that is versus how large the bag is. And then you just divide that and you find some fractions and things. And there's websites that help with this too, by the way.
There is. Yes.
You can kind of like put in like the amounts and the volumes of things, and it'll help you. And you do that for every single ingredient. And you will get down to find out that our products do not cost that much to make.
The overhead is not what you think it is.
The overhead is very low, which is you're like, oh, that's great. I'm going to make a bunch of money. Well, you know, there are other factors then. When you're first starting out, I would say you want to know how much your product is. You want to be knowledgeable about exactly how much your product costs. And then you want to look at a couple of other things. You want to look at what other bakeries around you are charging. The way that I kind of did that is I would look at, yes, at their website, but a lot of times people aren't having that listed. So whenever pre-sales happened and I saw local bakers put in pre-sale forms, guys, I ran over to their pre-sale holiday sales, and I was like, how much are they charging? I still do that. I'm like, how much are they charging for this? What are they charging? And that's kind of how I got a sense of like what people are charging around me. But then also you have to understand kind of the socioeconomics that you're working with. There are certain areas. Dallas, Texas is a wealthy area, and they will pay more than maybe somebody that is like, I don't know, in like a smaller West Texas, East Texas town. So that does factor into it. And so I would say if you are first starting out, I would not start at the bottom of what you're seeing, and I would not go to the top of what you're seeing. You have to prove your work before you can be charging what the person who's been doing it for 5 years is charging. But you don't want to start out too low because you're not going to be making any money. You're going to get burnout. It's not. So I would say start kind of in the middle and give yourself room to grow. And you will increase prices quicker than you think you will. And a couple of ways to know, people will tell you you're not charging enough. People who really love the product will seriously be like, this is only this? You should charge more. So you'll hear that. And
they will say that. They get to a point.
They do.
Yeah. Yes.
And also, if you're turning away more stuff than you're taking, if you're selling out every single pre-sale, then it's time. It's time. And again, we'll go into a deep dive on pricing, but those are some high-level thoughts on know your numbers And also, track your stuff for pricing. Every single thing
Yes.
that you buy, track it.
Yes.
And we'll get into that.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the next part, actually.
Nice little intro into it. What do we need next?
My handy little notes. Yes, SWOT analysis. I feel bad charging because don't feel bad. Guys, if they're coming to you to purchase them, it's because they don't know how to make them on their own. I'm always shocked, especially like when I first started, I was like, oh, these aren't as good because I'm seeing all these people on Instagram who are amazing. My customers pick them up and they're like blown away. And I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, just know your numbers, and feel confident about it.
Right.
Yeah. And then the next thing, after you're kind of have your pricing together and you know what you're going to do, decide how you want to be tracking your expenses.
Mm-hmm. This is big.
Not everybody is comfortable using credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
I am very comfortable with that. And for me, that works. I'm good at not carrying debt. I have good credit score. So when we first started, we went to the bank and opened a banking account that was just for Missy P's, put a tiny bit of investment money in there for me, and I got a credit card. And every single thing that I buy, still to this day, for Missy P's goes on the card. That's how it's easiest for me to track things, so that when it comes tax time, it's all right there and very black and white. So if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. If maybe a debit card's easier for you, maybe just having an Excel sheet that your household stuff is all here and all of your business stuff is here. Just establish a way that you want to be able to track your finances specifically for your business and start it from the get-go.
Yes, if you fall into the habit of not doing it, it is a hard habit to break.
It is, and it's a mess.
You know,
Sugar Pixie.
See?
My favorite client comment about my cookies was, I could no sooner do that than I could fly a plane. That's amazing. That's awesome. Okay, so, and then the last thing before, I know. So decide when, these are investment pieces, but the next thing on our checklist, LLC and food insurance. For me, I decided that when I started selling to a lot of people that I didn't personally know, so it's word of mouth had gotten that far, or I was doing my first pop-up, that's when I decided to take the leap and say, because food insurance is not cheap. I use Flip. I think it's $300 every year. But I just felt it was important. And not every food cottage requires it. Some of them definitely do. But for me and my personal decision, that's when I decided to get it, was when I was like, okay, I don't want these people that I don't know coming back and if there are any issues or trying to get money out of me or whatever. Chelsea, when did you do yours? Right off the bat?
No, I would say about the same, about a year and a half into my business, because that's when I started going to full time. So when I transitioned, and right, I'll get into it as when we do our full-time baker episode.
Yeah.
There comes a point where you might have to adjust that. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, it's just insurance for your business. Because we are handling food, you can always reach out to your insurance agent. So who does your car insurance, who does your home insurance, whatever that, State Farm, USA, all of them kind of have it too. Mine's through State Farm. So
yeah, I've heard that people wrap it into like their homeowners insurance and things like that.
Yeah, and if you are truly baking from your house, it is something I highly recommend looking into, is going through whomever your home insurance is through. Because there are little perks that you can do, like, for example, is something that you need in order to run your business. You can insure your oven. So my appliances have a separate insurance. So in the event that something happens to them, it's billed through my business insurance versus my homeowner's insurance, if that makes sense. Yeah. Again, I'm not sure if every policy is that way, so please don't hold me to that. But I just know that's how mine works. They're very knowledgeable, And they really help you. Especially, I know one of the key things that my insurance agent was saying is, let's say somebody's coming up to your door to pick up a cake and they trip and fall because your dog runs in between their legs.
Yeah.
You want to have that insurance. So it's not necessarily always for the food they're consuming. It just protects you as a business owner. So these are always, again, I always was afraid of that, if that makes sense. Like, that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah. It wasn't. It was one phone call, and they just literally explained all of it.
I deal with this all the time. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Umbrella policy. You're correct.
Simply Sweet Carolines. Thank you. We're glad you're enjoying it. You two need a podcast.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, we could talk for days.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, the umbrella policy.
Most people pick up. Yeah, see? So a lot of people have the umbrella policy. And again, kind of just adding to, before we jump on to our next thing, is depending upon how much orders you're taking, how active your business is. Again, falling back to those categories we talked about in the beginning, I have over time had to increase that insurance policy. So it's something that Melissa has on that beautiful checklist of ours.
Yeah.
So let's see. Since we have people picking up. Yes.
I think we're on to the last piece of our checklist.
All right, guys. So I know we're moving through this, grooving, but again, we can always come back and watch this, and we do have that checklist for you. So we've kind of established the core basics of the generalized business, but I mean, we got payment, we have forms, but we're not getting any of that used unless we get clients in. So a big question we would get was, how do I get customers? How do I grow my business? One sec, do you pay the umbrella policy separate from your homeowner's policy? You can choose how you would like to set that up. So it does cover a full separate portion, but that is something that I would refer you back to your insurance agent or whatever company you're going to use for that. So there's a few different ways that you can handle that.
I know, I need to look into that.
Right? But yes, it is through the same companies. So a lot of companies offer both business and homeowners insurance. Yeah. So going back to our customers, there was a great way it was explained to me when I first started in sales, is the 3 levels of sales. So when we first start out our business, our true number 1 champions, and that's why I always put number 1, is going to be our friends and family. They are going to be there for us.
My cookies.
Yes. Yes. They are going to be honest with you. They're going to tell you the truth about your product. It's a great way to start selling your cookies.
And be your cheerleaders too.
Yeah. Yes, they do. And they hype you. They're like, hey, I know somebody who makes cookies.
Totally.
Yes. So that is definitely your first line of your customers. Next from there is when you start to branch out to number 2. So number 2 is going to be Aunt Carol's friend that you've kind of met before, but you're not really familiar with her. She's buying cookies from you. So that's going to be number 2. It's not your immediate family, but some type of connection. Yeah. And last, you're going to want to get to level 3. Level 3 is, I don't know them. It's referrals, referral.
I don't know him.
Yeah, I don't know him. He doesn't even go here. Yes.
Right, Carrie. I don't know her.
We are aiming for that number 3. So number 3 is, again, going to be that customer base. I mean, a lot of times you might get somebody off of Instagram. Like, I saw your Instagram account. I love it. Want to buy cookies.
Do you remember the first time that you got an order from somebody that you did not know?
Yes, I panicked. I was like, wait, I don't know you.
Like me?
Yeah, I remember I called my mom and I was like, she's like, who is it? I'm like, I don't know. She's like, what do you mean you don't know them? I'm like, I don't know.
Like, who's picking up today? I was like, I don't know.
Yes, my family does that all the time. I'll say like, Ashley, and they're like, oh, Ashley. I'm like, no, I don't know them. So, no, but that's kind of how we want to get to there. So to give you guys some ideas, because I know that might sound really overwhelming, you're kind of like, okay, but give me that. Great ways to start is by just, again, breaking it down to littler pieces. Think, how do you get to those immediate in the seconds? Your kid's school, teacher appreciation, admin week. There's a really fun thing if you Google like funny holidays or fun holidays on Google. They'll be like, think of barista day or banker appreciation day. You can take them to your hairdressers, your dentist, just as a little token. It doesn't have to be a dozen, but like 2 or 3 little, like, thank you so much for this.
And big time, like, you're paying for those dance classes and those soccer games. So take them there, guys. Take them there.
It's great. Always make sure your logo is on the back, or your contact information, or your college food law, whatever is required per your state. Just reference back to that. That's a great way to branch out. When you do, let's say you want to do a pre-sale, you really want to test the waters, you can always post in local Facebook groups, mom groups, Instagram groups I know is like going on now. So those are great ways that you can go ahead and get your name out, or your local community. I know Melissa's community is amazing. We love ours over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a very active Facebook group for our community, and where they're always looking to support locals within the area we live. So that could be something.
And if you don't, so like the neighborhood that we used to live in, it was quieter, and it was a smaller neighborhood. And when I first started, I made flyers for my very first Christmas stuff. And
there you go.
And I wrote a note and was like, hey, you've probably seen me huffing up the street with the double stroller. I sell cookies, and I left a note on every person's door. And y'all, I got some of my most loyal customers from that. So, like, I know that we don't always say hello to our neighbors these days, and you don't have to. You can still stay mysterious, but just stick a little note in their door.
I do cookies for my neighbors for holidays. Yeah. I try and like add that into my extras, is just give them something. Like, it's a hi, thank you. So just a little bit. You can think of like some communities have farmers markets that you can take part in. Again, check your college food law, what is allowed. But those are a great way where you can think of heavy foot traffic is going to get more customers and clients. Or you can reach out to local businesses or influential people within your area that you can establish a relationship with and really get your name and your business out there and your product into people's hands. That is the key to sales. You want them to hold the product in their hands because they take ownership of it, and they're going to love it because it's cookies.
Yeah.
So those are a great way to start out. But sorry, we really typed hard.
I know. I ran out of my water.
So this week, though, let's first check on. I see a lot of these little comments. Let's see if we can help anything. Very useful if you're in a car accident, your state law. Yes, your vehicle, if you're transporting, that is great. Thank you so much. You know, who asked, referred them, and they said, I found you on Instagram. See, Instagram is a great platform to generate your clientele. Yeah, and if you aren't doing that on your order form, hopping a little bit back, it's always great for you to ask, how did you hear about me? Coming from like a marketing standpoint, it's where you want to then invest your energy. If you're seeing like all your clients are coming from Instagram, well, you know, maybe that's where you might want to heavily focus. So
for sure.
But we asked you guys this week some fun things in our stories. So if you are not following, you just happen to stumble upon this, guys, welcome.
Does it cut us off at 2 hours or at an hour? It looks like
I hope it doesn't.
Okay, guys, I think it might cut us off, but if we cut off, we're going to come right back on. Because we've got what, probably like maybe like 10 more minutes, and it's like fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
and we want to get some questions.
On this particular episode, we do want to get to some questions. On this particular episode, I want to tell you guys really quick, to get a hold of the checklist, join the email list. The link is in our profile. And we will send this checklist out to you guys on Friday. So join the checklist in the profile, and
join the email
Friday. Or I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah, join the email list, link in our profile, and we will send the checklist on Friday. Also,
Perfect.
I will not be here next week, but we will have our first guest.
You're gonna miss her.
I know. I'll be at a water park. Fun.
We'll be hustling cookies, guys.
Yes. So we'll have our first guest here, and we will announce that on Sunday as well as the topic.
Yes.
And I'll be back that following week, and it'll be fun. So I'm going to go ahead and exit us out of this, and we will come right back.
Am I good?
Yes, I think you're good.
I can hear you.
Back.
Okay.
Okay. I'm so sad that we lost a couple of questions from that last one, but I did see some of the questions, so I remember them. If you want to resubmit, you guys click on the little comment thing with the question mark, and we will also still bring on some people live.
Yay!
Ask the question if you guys want to. But what we were saying, go ahead, Chelsea, where we left off. We asked some questions.
Thank you guys for joining us again.
Yeah.
Okay, so we thought that you guys sent in some amazing advice and answers to those question boxes in our stories. So if you're not following along, we try and post daily in our stories. So check over there, because a lot of times we want feedback from you guys and looking at what advice maybe we're missing out on. This is just 2 brains, and we have access to hundreds of you guys. So we want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions also.
Yes.
So
this is a forum.
It's
not, this is a forum. It's a community. It's not just Chelsea and I.
Right. I mean, Melissa and I can talk for hours, as clearly Instagram likes to remind us. But, Melissa,
they have a timer on us.
Right?
Yes. Okay. So I know. Okay, so quite a few people said this, and I love this. It's so important for us, especially with like Instagram's new news and everything. Bluebird Lane Cookie Company and One Baker's Journey specifically said, comparison truly is the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to others.
Love that.
I know. I love that. And I, especially at the beginning, when I was trying to figure stuff out, was constantly comparing myself. And what you don't realize sometimes is how long people have been doing this, because you're just seeing their stuff and what these people were doing before. Some of these people start a baker, doing cookies, but they did cakes for years before, or they were an art teacher or like another type of artist. And so, they bust out these amazing things right off the bat. So I know it's hard, but we all have our lane and we all have our reason. At the end of the day, focus on the orders coming in.
Yes.
The orders coming in. That's what you want to focus on. It's a business.
Definitely.
So I loved that. What about you, Chelsea?
Oh, hold on. Can you guys hear me? This one died now.
Oh, yeah. No, I can hear you. We can hear you. Okay.
Can you all hear me still? Hopefully you can. This is what happens when I'm cooking all day and listening to stuff. Got to make sure I charge him better. All right. And to add to Melissa's, I feel like even her and I can fall victim to that to this day. It's so, I'll say personally, even when I did Christmas cookie and the 5 of us on the show, we were all talking about it. 2 of my wonderful, I don't want to say contestants, but my little companions on the show.
Your besties.
Yes, they went to culinary school, and one went to Le Cordon Bleu in France, and they could name every pastry. I was like, hey, YouTube cookie over here, I learned online. So we still do that, but like she said, keep it going. So
keep it moving.
To that, I love that the Green-Eyed Baker sent in, don't wait to perfect something and then start and perfect along the way.
So important.
That is so good. I feel like so many of us are like, I can't start yet because I don't know everything about business. I can't start yet because I don't know how to do character cookies.
Yes.
No, just jump in, learn as you go. That is all we can do in life. That comes to anything. I mean, not all of us were perfect parents and they handed us a baby and we learned. So
I know.
I mean, just you will learn and get your groove.
If you guys remember from last week's episode, that was you were taught that in acting school. If they ask you if you can ride a horse, you say yes. And then you go jump on a horse and figure it out. I mean, don't oversell your stuff. Don't post somebody else's stuff and say that you can do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
We're wagging the mom fingers.
Yeah, no, don't do that. But yeah, don't think that it's not good enough to just start doing it. Like just do it. Yes. Just do it and do it. And that feeds into another one that we saw a lot.
Which one did you like?
I love the I'm gonna butcher this. Le Sucre Bake Shop and the Blessed Baker. Hey, love. Practice. It's the number one thing I tell people when they say, and when they ask for advice on how to get better, it's so hard, it's difficult. It's practice. I mean, Chelsea and I should show you sometime our very first.
Yes.
We'll do that this week. We'll do that this week in our stories. We will show you our progress.
Yes.
And where we started, because it's just amazing and even like taking some time off. Like I took off 4 months when we were moving.
Oh yeah, you did.
And then coming back, like
it's like working out.
Gosh, yeah, it is. And that's another thing, Chelsea, too. Good point. It's not just your muscle memory of things. I'm a huge advocate for creativity is a muscle. And you have to strengthen it. You have to constantly see things in nature and design and make it click that like, okay, I could use a technique for that. I could do that. And like the creativity buttons, like they start switching. And so practice, not just with doing the technique, but your creativity and pushing yourself. What about you?
Yeah, it's also fun, I think, to ask like your husband when you get a cookie cutter, like, what do you see when you see this cutter? Because they don't know what they are. And my husband will sometimes come up with the coolest things. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what that cookie cutter was.
One of my favorite things to do is like just take like a floral plaque and turn it into like, popcorn.
Right. Yeah. See? All right. I think we are going to do one more. Let's see. Love this one. If you are on here, the Sweet Occasions Cookies. Approach from an attitude of abundance. There's an abundant room for you at the table. Don't think just because everyone else is doing something that your work, your skill is not unique. Everybody brings something amazing to this team and this table.
I love that.
And it would be a waste if you didn't serve your amazing talent to the world, because somebody could be in need of that. And to think that you just didn't want to do. There's so many customers. And I know before I moved out to nowhere in the desert, that my housing area that I previously lived in, there's like 5 of us within like a small little radius. And there was enough customers for everybody. So
I send people, y'all, North Texas is like the Mecca, I feel like.
You guys have so many bakers.
There are so many. But like, that's one of the things I love about this community is like, even though we can compare ourselves a lot and like everybody falls victim to that, it is such a supportive community. And I just like, I've not felt competition with people. Like we share, like I want people to have other people to go to because I feel so bad when I can't help them. So I want them to be able to go to somebody. So I love that. Rub it in. I had a therapist one time that was like, let's just rub that in. I loved it.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so again, we'll continue to post things and we will share things from you guys. There are a couple of questions here. I want to share this. I think I can share it on the screen. Can I? Do you guys see that?
So go ahead.
Do you see it?
I do now. Yes.
Okay, so Shana Allen 1 said, I struggle with asking for a deposit. How do you overcome that? Okay, so we'll get into a whole thing. Chelsea and I had a big debate about this.
We did.
And she is very knowledgeable about just like banking and stuff like that. So she has a different opinion necessarily than I do. So we'll get into it on a pricing probably episode. But we both do like get money up front.
I don't.
But you do the whole thing, but it's still like a couple weeks ahead.
It's 2 weeks, yeah. 2 weeks.
So it's still like they're not paying when they come to the door.
No.
So I always do 50% deposit at the time of them booking.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I always say it is it's 50% deposit to hold your slot. So I think that can a lot of times like push people, like, don't be scared about it. Fake it till you make it, even if your books aren't full.
Right.
And it's like, well, I require 50% up front to reserve your spot on my calendar. And if they ask about what that's for, you can always educate that there are supplies. There is time. Like I have to make sure that I'm allotting time for you in this,
mm-hmm.
In that week. And if it, last minute, I could have taken another order, something like that. But I think most people, the communication is, it's a deposit to reserve the slot, and it's for supplies up front.
Yes. Very true. Very true.
Yes. And then there was, it's not on this one, it was on the other one that I saw that they said that they are moving either like a city over or something like that. Mm-hmm. How do I communicate that to my clients?
We both just did that this past year.
Oh yeah, that's true. Mine was only about 30 minutes away, and I definitely did lose some clients from it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I gained a whole ton, moving. But I let them know up front that I was going to be moving, and where it mm-hmm. was, like what city it was, that I would still be happy to service them. I know some people too, if it's not too far for a certain period of time, they would offer drop-offs.
Yeah, that's true.
Or meetups.
Mm-hmm.
I would just be upfront in an email or on your social about what it is, when you plan to open ordering again for that area.
Yeah. I kind of approached it from a different sense I moved about 30 minutes away, but it's in the middle of nowhere. So I offer 2 pickup locations every week. So if you are one of my customers on here, hello, but my parents' house is very centrally located. So it's a lot easier access for a large percentage of my clientele. And it's just a quick jaunt for so many people in the valley. So I offer from there, and then I also offer from my house, but I established that at the time of putting your pre-order through. So on the order form, I have which location that they would like to pick up from. So I do see, do you guys offer delivery? I don't do delivery. Do you do delivery? You do cakes. So is that different?
Delivering cakes is terrifying. It depends. There are certain times I try and be pretty flexible. Honestly, when I offer delivery, it's because it works better for my schedule. Mm-hmm. Because if they're saying like Saturday in the afternoon, and I'm like, if I deliver it on Saturday morning, could we do that? And it also depends on where they are. When I was first starting out, I would offer delivery more, and I would just charge. You can look up the mileage rate, and I would charge based on the mileage rate. And I would always tell them up front if they're asking, yes, I can do it for a fee.
I did love Carla's Cookie Shop. That was kind of what Tiffany, I'm so sorry, as I'm reading, Tiffany popping in below. Melissa and I got we're discussing this week about that.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I agree with that.
She's saying don't call it a deposit, because I do say it's a non-refundable deposit. Call it a retainer. Ooh,
a deposit.
Well, now I need to change my messaging. Thank you.
Through banking, a deposit is still refundable. Your attorney is correct.
Interesting. Yes. Okay, I think we do have somebody who wanted to join us live.
Yay! Our first person.
Let's see if she still wants to. It looks like Laura by Simply Sweet Desserts. Let's see. I sent you a request, so it should send to you, Laura. And I think you'll pop on here with us. Let's see.
Drum roll.
And if anybody else wants to join, there are 2 ways to join. So you can click the little arrow up at the top, the arrow that like juts down, and you can send a request, or you can request that way. And then I think if you roll all the way up to the top or something of the comments, There's an option too. Laura, are you still with us? Did you get the request? Oh, you know what? I don't think she is. Okay, your time's running out. Anybody want to join us? Bueller?
Awesome.
No?
While we wait for somebody to join, do you want to tell them about our next little fun thing?
Okay, so this is a segment, and I know that this was a long episode, so in the future, we'll try and fit these into our hour that
yes.
Instagram is allowing us. And Chelsea, I totally lied. I said that we could show these, and now I don't see the thing that
I don't have the thing.
I know, but it's okay. I'll show you guys a different way. Okay, so some bakes.
Hold on, you froze.
Oh no.
There you go. Okay, you're good. You're back.
Chelsea, should we do some bakes?
Yes, let's show some bakes.
Yay! So every week, Chelsea and I are going to choose a favorite bake. Mm-hmm. So it could be a cookie set, a cake, a recipe that we want to share, whatever. And we're going to share it with you guys on here, as well as in our stories and on our page. So this is our bootleg way of showing this.
Yes, you can show mine. So this is Melissa's choice.
This was mine. This came across my feed by Blushed Bakes by Reva. And you guys probably saw this too. But I just thought it was so striking. And I love you guys. I mean, if you guys follow me, you know that I love doing black lines on stuff because it gives it almost a comic-y look to it, an animated look. She didn't even use that. She just did this with wet on wet. And I just loved the color palette. And I thought that was so clever. I thought that could be so cute for Valentine's or something like that.
Yes, I love it.
So cute. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to show yours.
Yes. All right, I chose this cake. One, because I am not a cake person. I am actually trying to learn to do cakes, not for customers, but for myself. So I admire that pink pop, the ombre. I love the coloring, and I am a sucker for gold. So this
gold, all the things.
Yes, if I saw this is where I would be like, that's me. That's me in a cake. So yay. I loved it. I just really appreciate your guys. Everyone of you guys that does cakes, props to you because
they're terrifying.
It is, cookie is all day. Don't ask me to do your cake. But yeah, so I love that one. But we will post those in our stories and on our feed and stuff. And then we'll shout out you guys because we love elevating you guys and shining the light on you as well. So yes. But do we have I can't see questions, but
we did have one more and we'll do this last one. All right. Okay. CE Walsh 80. Most and least favorite holidays for pre-sales. I like this. It's like a rapid fire.
I love pre-sales.
Chelsea, you go first.
Okay. Oh man.
Let's start with most. You guys answered too in the comments.
Yes. My most favorite, of course, is Christmas because Christmas is my favorite holiday of all times. I have 7 Christmas trees in my house. So definitely Christmas. I love that you have so many different aesthetics you can play with and color palettes, and it makes everyone happy. And it is a very stressful baking time. It is my busiest holiday, but it is my favorite to design for. Yeah. My least favorite. I would say I wouldn't even say designing wise, but just my pre-sale hit or miss holiday is always Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Oh, sure.
If one's great, the other is not. This year I took Father's Day off because the last 2 were just not my best for as much work was going into it. I love design because I feel like dads, you can do so many funny dad jokes, but so I would say that one's my hardest. I don't know if there's one that I don't like designing for.
I'll start with my least favorite, I guess. It's one of the most popular, but it's one that I guess I have the hardest time being creative to my aesthetic with it would be the teacher school related stuff.
Oh, I could see that.
I don't know. That one's a little tougher for me. I feel like, and especially like graduation, y'all, school colors are so ugly. All of the college school colors are so like overly saturated or like super dark maroon.
Oh, you get no pastels. Nope.
Yeah, no. I live in pastels. I like pastels. So I would say maybe that. My favorite, I think, probably because I live in pastels, is probably Easter.
Oh, that's always so pretty.
I love Easter, and I just feel like you can be a little more like elegant with stuff because it's more of like an adultish kind of holiday. Also, like Valentine's, I like it's kind of like more in those like pretty pastel-y colors. So those are probably my favorite.
Yeah,
that's a good question. I like that.
Great question.
I'm not seeing everybody else answer that. You guys should answer that.
Awesome. Well,
okay.
We have kept you guys for almost an hour and a half. So bless
guys. And hey guys, if you guys are enjoying this, just like how we get customers with cookies, like share this, tell people about it. The bigger we grow this community, then the more fun we can have and the more we can share with people. So you love Christmas too, of course. That's a good one.
It's got my heart. Awesome. Well, we will let you guys, for all you night cookiers out there, keep going. Keep going. It's decorating time right now. But we will be announcing our next episode come Sunday. So we'll have a guest, as Melissa. We will miss you. But we will be thinking of you splashing and drinking while we are here.
Cocktail in hand.
Right. But we're going to be announcing that Sunday, the topic, and then who our wonderful, amazing guest is. And I will be here next week still. But, yeah, is there anything else before we
I don't think so.
sign off? All right. Well, I am Chelsea with Rolling in the Dough AZ.
I'm Melissa with Missy P's Sweets. Thank you. We'll see you next week. May your cakes never be dry.
And your cookies be shiny and crater-free. Have a good night, guys. Bye.